What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video we're going to dive into my trading 212 portfolio and look into my financial sector pie. I currently have 5 holdings and we'll go through each of these companies in review. But before we get into today's video, as always, if you're new around here, please consider subscribing to this channel as we're currently on 314 subscribers and our next goal is to get to 350. So with all that being said, let's dive right into the video. So here we are on my trading 212 portfolio. We can see here in my financial sector pie, we currently have 5 holdings that equate to just over €400 in value. We are currently up 0.83% overall, and the 5 companies that we're going to discuss in today's video are as follows. We have 20% weighting into each of these 5 companies, and the first being Visa. We are currently down 2.6%. MasterCard, we are currently down 2.64%. And again, as I'm all for dollar cost averaging, I'll be certainly looking to invest further into these 2 companies over the coming weeks to improve my dollar cost average. The third company we'll be looking into is JP Morgan & Chase. We are currently up 5.71%. Another company that I'll be looking to dollar cost average further in is Bank of America. We're currently down 0.55%. And the fifth company on the list is Goldman Sachs, and we're currently up 4.38%. In terms of my 5 financial sector companies, I usually split them into 2 different kind of subsectors, one being the traditional style bank, and the 3 of those companies that I have are Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, and JP Morgan & Chase. And then the second subsector I have is kind of the more innovative way forward in terms of online banking and paperless payments, and they are in the form of Visa and MasterCard. So we'll start off with the more traditional banks, and the first of these is being Goldman Sachs Group. Goldman Sachs is an American multinational investment bank and financial services company headquartered in New York. It offers services in investment management, securities, asset management, prime brokerage, and securities underwriting. Goldman Sachs has ticker symbol GS and is traded on the New York Stock Exchange. At time of recording, its current share price was $205.69. The company currently pays a forward dividend yield of 2.42%, which currently equates to about $5 per share. We will kind of see the similar pattern for all 5 of the bank sector companies that I own in terms of the 1-year chart. We can see that all companies, especially the banking sector and finance, suffered heavily during the crash in March, and this company went down to about $134 a share. It's currently at about $205, so over the last year it went up to highs of just under $250 a share. So slowly over the last, let's say, 5 months or so, it has steadily started to increase and recover back to its pre-crash levels. So it's still a bit to go, and I still think this company is undervalued as a long-term investor. Goldman Sachs' top 3 institutional shareholders are firstly Vanguard Group with a 7.33% holding, State Street with 5.72%, and in third it's BlackRock with a 5.67% holding. The second company on today's list is Bank of America, which is an American multinational investment bank and financial services holding company headquartered in North Carolina, and its central hubs are in New York, London, Hong Kong, Dallas, and Toronto. Bank of America's ticker is BAC. It is traded on the New York Stock Exchange. At time of recording, its current share price was $23.72. If we scroll down here, we can see that their forward dividend yield is currently 3.04%, or 72 cents per share, which isn't bad considering a lot of the financial sector companies, and especially ones like Bank of America, are very there's no risk as such in these companies compared to some other growth sector stocks. Let's just say Workhorse, just as an example. But banking sector companies, and especially the ones at the top, are considered safe, low risk investments. Just like Goldman Sachs, we can see here that Bank of America's 1-year chart looks pretty similar in terms of that they were doing pretty well before the crash at about $35 a share, and since March they went down to about $18 a share, and since then they have started to recover slowly, and they're after recouping about $6 per share of the losses incurred from the crash in March, and they're currently at about $24 a share, and I still believe they're undervalued, and over the long term, once they fully recover from this crash and crisis, I believe they'll be back to over $30 to $40 a share. Bank of America's top 3 shareholders are Berkshire Hathaway with a 10.68% holding. I'll be doing a video on Berkshire Hathaway's Class B stock or ETF in the coming weeks, as I might be investing into that myself. The second company, the top second holder, would be Vanguard Group with 7.22% holding, and the third top institutional holder is BlackRock with a 6.12% holding. The third company on today's list, and a company that a lot of people are very interested in and have high hopes for in the long term, is JP Morgan Chase, which is an American multinational investment bank and finance services holding company headquartered in New York. It is ranked by the S&P Global as the largest bank in the US and the 7th largest bank in the world by total assets, with over $3.21 trillion. JP Morgan has ticker symbol JPM. It is traded on the New York Stock Exchange, and its current share price is just under $100 at $99.80. If we scroll down here, we can see that their forward dividend yield is currently 3.61% or $3.60 per share, again, which is reasonable considering that JP Morgan would be considered one of the more safer companies. Just like the prior 2 companies that we mentioned, JP Morgan and Chase's 1-year chart kind of has a similar enough outlook in terms of they were doing quite well before the crash at about $140 a share, and nosedived down to about $79 a share, so nearly halved in value, which is crazy to think for such a kind of safe banking company to drop over 50% in the space of a month or two. But since then, in March, over the last 4 to 6 months, it has steadily increased in value again and is currently sitting at just under $100. And again, I believe this company is undervalued in the long term, and it won't be long, maybe 6 to 12 months, before it is back up to the $140 or $150 mark. The fourth company on today's list, and the first company on the list that is one of my innovative / way forward companies in terms of online banking and paperless payments, is Visa. Visa is an American multinational financial services company headquartered in the US, California. It facilitates electronic fund transfers throughout the world, most commonly through Visa branded cards, debit cards, and prepayment cards. And I believe that companies such as Visa, especially in the current times of viruses and people becoming a bit more paranoid in terms of cleanliness and their own health, companies such as Visa are certainly the way forward for more contactless and paperless payments. Visa's ticker symbol is V, and it is traded on the New York Stock Exchange, and its current share price is just under $197. If we scroll down here, we can see their forward annual dividend yield is currently $1.20 a share, or 0.6%. So that is because they are technically classed more as a growth sector company instead of my other 3 prior companies, which are more dividend-based financial companies. You will also notice with the next 2 companies being Visa and MasterCard that their 1-year chart looks a lot more promising than, let's say, the first 3 companies, and that is due to people beginning to use their services more in terms of contactless payments. So we can see before the crash, this time last year, it was about $171 a share. It went up to about $213 and crashed down to, let's say, $135 in the middle of March. But since then, it has improved very well, and in fact is nearly back at its pre-crash levels at just under $200 a share. And I believe definitely these type of financial based companies are the way forward again in terms of contactless payments. Visa's top 3 institutional shareholders are the Vanguard Group with an 8.73% holding, BlackRock with 7.49%, and FMR with 4.67% holding. The fifth and final company in today's list is MasterCard, which is an American multinational financial services company headquartered in New York. MasterCard has ticker symbol MA and is traded on the New York Stock Exchange. At time of recording, its current share price was $331. It is currently down about 2.28% in the last day or so, which equates to about $7.70. And when I see things like that, I only think of buying more to help improve my dollar cost averaging. When we scroll down here, we can see that they currently pay $1.60 per share in dividends, which equates to just under 0.5%. And again, like Visa, they'd be classified more as a growth stock instead of a dividend paying company, so they would reinvest their profits into the company to help improve the overall share price instead of paying out dividends to their shareholders. Like Visa, MasterCard has done exceptionally well since the crash. So 1 year ago, their share price was hovering at about $270 a share. It went up to about, let's say, $345 pre-crash, and then it had a nosedive down to, let's say, about $203 a share. But since the 4 or 5 months ago, it has went up over $130, which is very impressive for a company, especially in the financial sector after a crash, to recover so fast. And in fact, it's actually above its pre-crash levels at the moment at $331 a share. So I believe, again, just like Visa, companies such as MasterCard, and with contactless payments and with a moneyless or paperless economy going forward, I believe that companies like MasterCard are definitely brilliant long-term investments. So with all that being said, that brings the end to today's video. We covered my top 5 financial sector companies that I own on my Trading 212 portfolio, which are the kind of more old style banking companies such as Bank of America, Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan Chase, and the more innovative, way forward, paperless companies such as Visa and MasterCard. If you found this video anyway helpful, it'd be brilliant if you could smash that like button, as it would really help my channel out going forward. And comment below if you find that you had some companies in the financial sector that you believe should have been included on this list, or would you have omitted any of the 5 that I mentioned. Comment below of these companies and I'll be sure to get back to you. And finally, as always, if you're new around here, please consider subscribing to this channel, as we are currently on 314 subscribers and our next goal is to get to the 350 mark. So thanks very much, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video.